Elemental Wisdom, and today we're going to be talking about prepping vegetables. This is an activity that takes a little bit of time on a Saturday or a Sunday, but saves you so much time over the course of the week. It's really easy to take your pre-prepped veggies and just go ahead and throw them into whatever dish you're making. To prep your vegetables, we have all the vegetables we're going to need that we assume we're going to need for the week. If you're really on top of stuff, you can meal plan. If not, just grab a whole bunch of veggies, or if you've taken your quiz to know what foods you can take on Elemental Wisdom, grab all those veggies that are on your yes list, have them ready and out to go. We've also pre-filled the sink, so that's where we're going to use to washing our greens. And I know it might seem a little bit easier to just throw it in while it's one bunch, but it doesn't wash quite as well, so I like to take my wrappings off first before I go ahead and put the vegetables into the sink. So we're all going to just kind of lay them in there. Get them starting to mix out, and if there's two of you, that's great. One of you can unwrap while the other one starts to kind of wash them in the sink. Doesn't it look beautiful? Once you've washed your vegetables once, drain the water to get all of that dirt off, and then go ahead and rinse them again just to make sure you got all of the dirt off. If you're going to be doing your root vegetables too, you can take the greens out and put them on a cloth like we're going to show you, and then use it back in if you want to save a little water. But since we're just doing the greens, we drained it and are filling it back up again. Once your vegetables are washed, you're going to go ahead and lay out a couple of dish towels. Maybe one, depends how many vegetables to dish towel, what that ratio is. And you can drain your sink before you do it. We didn't, dealer's choice at that point. But just go ahead, take your vegetables out. If the water's still in there, you could not shake it off. Go ahead and lay them out. While I'm laying them out, Dan's going to start patting them dry with another dishcloth. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and transfer them over to your cutting board. Put in our other vegetables while we're cutting our greens to save on some time.
I've gone ahead and taken a few pieces of chard and put on my cutting board. You don't want to take too much or else it'll be a little bit too hard to cut at once. I like to cut off the end first and use that for vegetable stock or whatever you like. When you're cutting, you want to make sure to keep your fingers kind of curled in so you don't cut off any parts of you, and keep your knife nice and close with the tip down. I like to kind of roll the leafy parts up so you can kind of bunch it up a little bit easier. And that way it's a little bit easier to cut through. And then I'll go ahead and just do one more cut, maybe two, down the middle, just to get a little bit smaller pieces.
Once the vegetables are cut, I'm going to put them in our storage container. And as you're putting them in, you can see that most of the pieces are really nice and small. There's a few that kind of stick together. Your knife didn't go all the way through, or they're a little bit bigger. Go ahead and just feel free to tear those apart to the size you want. I like to store my vegetables in a glass container. This one is Pyrex and they have the plastic lids. These are really convenient because you don't have to keep using Ziploc bags. But if you need to, this is also a really great, this is also a great way to store your vegetables if you have smaller fridges, or if you can't find any glass containers. They're pretty easy to find though. You can get them at Goodwill, Costco, Target, really anywhere. Amazon's probably also a good place to find them. Once I have them in, I'm going to take either a napkin or a small piece of paper towel, go ahead and get it wet. You can either turn it for the faucet, or you go ahead and use the faucet. You don't want to use the water in there because there's some dirt. Just get it a little wet, wring it out, and go ahead and drop it in with your greens. And what that's going to do is it's going to help keep it nice and fresh for your whole week. Now that we've prepped our greens, we're going to move on to our other vegetables. So Dan is going to show us how he cuts the celery.
I like to keep it all clumped together like this so it stays nice and together, but do whatever you kind of feel comfortable with. And again, make sure to tuck your fingers and kind of grip the knife in this kind of pinching form so that you keep everything really secure. the end for a soup stock, or you can also cut that part up and eat it if you like. But that's how you cut your celery.
Now that our celery's cut, and this might seem a little odd, but trust me, you're going to want to store it in a bowl full with a little bit of water. Not full to the brim, just enough to keep it nice and fresh throughout the week. So whatever you do, make sure you get a lid that seals nice and tight and that it's on an even shelf in your refrigerator. It's also perfectly fine to eat the celery leaves, so don't be afraid to throw those in there. Here I have my lovely turnip friend. We've also got our other root vegetables in here, and we're going to peel them. You don't necessarily have to peel your root vegetables. Most people like it without the skin. And this is another thing we do, just nice and easy. So when you've got it in your hand, again, kind of tucking your fingers, but get your nails on there, and go ahead, take the blade and peel away from you. Some people think it's easier to peel towards, and that you're going to want to do with your thumb. Again, that's whatever your comfort level dictates. So I just cut the stem off my carrot, so you might want to hold a little bit below the stem and just watch your fingers. You gotta be really careful with that. You're gonna cut the end off your carrot anyway, so it's okay if it doesn't get totally peeled, but again, hold the nubby end towards you and peel towards the pointy end. If you have a garbage disposal, you can peel right in. The peels are also really good to save for soups or stocks if you want to peel it into a bowl. I also highly recommend saving the carrot stem if you do get carrots in a bunch. It also makes a really good soup stock. The last root vegetable I have this week is the lovely parsnip. Now, most people only know this from when Jack Sparrow is trying to remember the word parlay in the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but it's actually a really nice root vegetable that's a little starchy and has a sweet flavor to it. It's excellent to roast and really enhances any dish that it's in. Again, like the carrot, you're going to hold on to the bit of the nubby end, which you'll cut off, so it's okay if it doesn't get fully peeled, and peel towards the pointy end away from you. Again, if you want, you can save the skin for your vegetable stock, or you can throw it away. It's also great for compost, so just know that it has many uses besides protecting the beautiful white underneath. Just like we cut our greens, we're also gonna go ahead and cut our root vegetables so they're all ready to go for the week.
So I like to cut off this little end part here first. And now you have a nice flat surface, so it doesn't roll around too easily. Then I kind of like to just cut it in half. And from there you can kind of just place it.
Again, make sure your fingers are nice and tucked like Dan's are. Cut.
There we go. Now we're going to cut the parsnip.
So there's a couple of different ways to cut it, but this is probably the easiest. Go ahead and cut off the end, then the big bulb. Save your end for soup stock. Place your end on the half. Side by side. Cut it in half again. Once it's all next to each other, just go ahead and dice it. And when you've got this, you can go ahead and just do little pieces. One might fall off the end, that's okay. You can always wash and put it back. Probably cook all the root veggies together. We're just gonna all throw it into the same bowl. If you know you want to keep it separate, put them in separate bowls.
And now we'll cut the carrot.
Like the parsnip, cut it at the end. What I also like to do, you don't have to, is flip it, cut the little end, flip it back. It's weird, but just go with it. And then you just dice it. You can make them as thick or as thin as you want. And if you'd also like, you can then take some of the bigger pieces and make them smaller. However you like to eat your carrots. You do you. Cutting the carrots, you can either place them in a bowl of water, or if you run out of bowls, you can always put it into a Ziploc bag with a wet paper towel. Make sure it's wet, otherwise your carrots won't stay as fresh. Once your veggies are all prepped, you can go ahead and store them in your fridge. We have our greens, our root vegetables, our carrots, our celery, the parsley you saw drying, and then this is our bag of vegetable scraps that we use to make soup stock, which we can show you in a later video. Once these are all here, whenever you want to use them for lunch or dinner, just go ahead, take them out. You can use a slotted spoon to get rid of the water, or just kind of take it, shake it out. Whatever's easy. The greens you can just go ahead and throw in the pan and saute them, and you're all set and ready to go.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned a couple tips about prepping your vegetables for the week.
If you'd like to learn more about what specific vegetables you should be eating and take our online health assessment, these are just a few things, but there's so many more vegetables that could be perfect for you. Thanks for watching. See ya! Alright, let's go make dinner.